Hi, welcome back to 1/6 RC Tank Workshop. Today I'm back working on the Armortek Tiger 1. In this video I'll be trying to add some of the detail that's missing from the roof of my turret, adding more weld lines, adding the fake bolts for the gun travel lock, and working on the loader's side hatch. I'll work on adding a working mechanism to the side escape hatch. This is one of the problem areas of this early Tiger. I mentioned before that this wasn't actually a full kit. It was parts I picked up and I'm trying to make a full Tiger out of it. So many parts I'm having to make myself. It's a mixture of old 2005 kits and 2015 parts as well, so it's a mixture. The turret is one of the 2005 cast turrets, but I'm missing a lot of parts. There's a fillet runs along here. I don't have the part, and I don't have a suitable piece of metal to make the part. So I'm trying to make it in a couple of different parts, and I'll be making some modifications which may improve the turret overall. So here's the first part of filling in. And I've also made a section for here. I need to make another similar piece for over this side. The original turret roof was in two sections with a weld pretty much across this area. So I'll be removing this part of the existing turret roof and putting a new piece of aluminium in here. This will be the new frontal piece of aluminium, and this will be permanently fixed to the turret with weld lines. There's also a small step at the front here which I'll be building. And here we have the holes milled out for the gun travel lock. The gun is not exactly central in the turret, so they are a little bit off center. Here we have an area where I'm going to add some welds around the lifting lug, and this section here is a weld along the bottom of the turret and along this section. I did fake welds before, so you can watch other videos as well. I'm using milliput. Once I've got these welds in place, before it goes anyway hard at all, I'm removing the lug So here are the completed fake welds along here as well. And if I need to remove the gun, these parts, these lugs can be removed without affecting the fake weld. Here you can see the completed new roof section. This front part is permanently attached. And this is how it lifts out. Here you can see the mounting point for the internal travel lock. The dimensions are from my own research, but find the line of the fold, and I've come back 10 millimeters from each side, and there's about a 41 millimeter gap. The center line is not the center line of the turret, it's the center line from where the gun runs. So find the center of your gun and mark your line back. You can see earlier where I've used the milling machine just to mill these. These would have been tapered bolts holding the travel lock in place. This particular model of the turret didn't have a weld along here. Later turrets often had a weld line here as well. You can see I've also put my weld around the turret. Eventually, when I'm finished working on the commander's coupler will eventually have a weld around the edge, but it's not permanently attached yet. It's not finished. There's quite a lot more detail to add to this. The ventilator here, I'll probably make a new one. This is the old kit part. It's not very detailed, not correct. and there's a lot of work to do on the hatch. I don't have any interior parts for this, so I'll have to make some. A big thank you to everybody who's subscribed so far. Heading towards 500 subscribers at the moment, so keep those subscriptions coming. In these videos, I'm trying to add quite a lot of detail, and I'm also making a lot of the components myself. So please bear with me. Progress could be a little bit slow. Here's my escape hatch for the turret. It's one of the old white metal ones. Not as nice as the aluminium machined ones on the new ones. The gap on the inside I've filled with resin and milled it flat. I'm going to see if I can make an additional part to fit inside, but I might end up making my own escape hatch in the end, but I'll see what I can do with this first. So here we have the hatch opening on the turret of the Tiger. I showed you earlier the hatch that came with the kit. I've removed part of it, the hinge fitting. I tried to take some of the roughness off it. I put it on the lathe, but I didn't want to take too much material off. It's just a round disc and fits in like this. The early Tiger had a contour along the edge on both sides. Not sure why. This was just on the earlier models. The problem with the hatch is the Armortek hatch doesn't have any retention lock. So if you're driving along, it'll probably just fall down. It's quite heavy. Smash on your deck. There isn't really any way to hold it in place other than to use glue. So part of my idea is to build the interior section. Now we're looking at the hatch from the inside. So here's how the basic hatch would be. And then with the add-on section, it'll fit more flush with the interior of the hull and allow me to fit the locking mechanism. So it'll have to be joined together. After quite a bit of thought, I've decided this is polishing a turd and it's not really worthwhile. So I've scrapped the idea. Well, at the factory open day of Armortek, I picked up some scraps of metal. So rather than messing around with this, I'm going to try to turn this block of aluminium into a proper hatch. And here's what I've come up with so far. After a lot of work on the lathe and the milling machine, rotary table especially, I've come up with this. So one block of aluminium, it'll have a working lock mechanism. I just have to make the handles for this, and I'll also have to make a hinge. Here you can see the hatch with the latch removed. I've milled out section here, slides just like on the real one. And the locking mechanism just slides into place. And this is how the hatch will look when it's in place. It'll lock into place. I've milled out a channel around here, and this will contain a rubber seal. The back of the hatch, I haven't put the profiles on the edge yet, and I have to make the hinge for here. So here I've added a little bit more detail. I've got the part in that holds the sliding bar and also the locking mechanism. So just twist these and they release the bar so that the door will open. Next will be to make the hinges. Well, here's the part finally completed. I've made the hinge mechanism. It's very secure. The locking mechanism, it's fully functional. It's now locked securely in place. I'll put a weld bead just around here and cover it in these screws. I'm just rolling out a piece of milliput to make the weld. That should be plenty. I showed you the tool that I used before in an earlier video. This is just a homemade one. I have different size on this end. It's just a piece of aluminium tube. I'm going to use the smaller end. And that's the welded section done. To attain the pin in the hinge, just like the wheel one, I put a small pin in here so the pin won't slide out. before fitting it to the turret, I'll give it a coat of etch primer. I'll take it apart first as much as possible. Let's fill in these screw holes as well with a bit of milliput. I'll put a little bit too much on and then I can sand it down. So here's the escape hatch fitted in place. It's held in place with 3 M3 screws. They're hex heads, but they're a reduced size hex head. Let's open the hatch. So here's the hatch mechanism. Everything's completed. I've put in a piece of rubberized cable here as a seal. It's just super glued in place. I had milled a recess into the hatch to accept a 3mm cable. And you can see the locking mechanism. You can see how the locking mechanism works. And to close up the hatch, and it's now securely locked. And here's the interior view. Release the locking mechanism. And close it up again. Thanks for watching. I'll put up a video here and another one here towards the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.